The Mechaber says, we're up to Siman Tesvav Sif Aleph. The Mechaber says, Mutter lahatel tzitzis metalazeh, v'litna metalas acher. You're allowed to take tzitzis off of one beged in order to put it on another beged. So let's say you have a beged that's older, it's dirty. So you're allowed to take the tzitzis off of that beged, even though it'll be invalidating that beged, in order to put on another beged. It's not considered bizayon for the tzitzis. But to take it without the intention of putting on another beged, that's a problem. It's a bizayon. It says the Rama, v'dafka b'tavashal bar chiyuva, amutlahat tzitzis metalashal mesim. But it's dafka if the tzitzis is on a beged that's chayiv. But let's say the tzitzis is on tachrichim. The halacha is that tachrichim are not chayiv in tzitzis because they're not meant to be worn by people that are living. So you could take it off, the tzitzis off that beged, because they're not mechuyev anyway. The Mishnah Berurah adds in Sifkat Aleph, gam afilu metalas gadol letalas katan. You're allowed to take it off from a talis gadol and put it onto a talis katan. Even though you could argue that talis katan is not as chashiv as talis gadol, they're still both chayiv and therefore it's allowed. But what you should not do is take the talis off of an adult person's talis and place it onto the tzitzis of a child, because a child is not mechuyev only mitzad chinuch, and therefore you're taking it off a deraisa and putting it onto derabanan. That's going to be a problem. Mishnah Berurah says in Gimel that although you're not allowed to take off a tzitzis from a talis, if your intention is not to use them on another talis, let's say I want to take it off the talis because I want to replace the tzitzis. Meaning, the tzitzis that I'm taking off, I'm not using on another beged. But I'm taking it off because I want to put nicer tzitzis on. Let's say I have newer, nicer. So it says in Mishnah Berurah, Mutter lahaser atzitzis v'lasis tachteim yoiser noim mishum hider mitzvah. If they're older, you can put on new ones. Or if, let's say, one string ripped, so it's still kosher, but it's not zakilim aveu, that you could take off to replace. Because that's considered doing it for the tzarech mitzvah. That's not a bizayon. And the Mishnah Berurah does say that let's say you're taking the tzitzis off of this beged because you're replacing with a newer beged, with newer tzitzis. So it's better not to just cut them off. Rather, you should unwrap it, because if you unravel it, it could be used by someone else. But if you cut it off, then it's not usable anymore. It's considered a derech hashchasa. It's considered a destructive act. If need be, listen, if it's, let's say, difficult to unwind it, okay, fine. But if it could be unwound, that's a better method. Says the Mechaber in Beis, Eini yochel likach haknaf kemoishu u'matzitzis l'tofer beged acher mishum tal kanfe bigdeim be'inon v'knaf ze lo yeh beged ze v'shasasi. Let's say I have a corner of a beged that gets ripped off. So I have an entire corner that's missing. So I just say to myself, okay, I'll go to another beged, I'll cut off that corner with the tzitzis hanging on it, and then I'll sew it on. The halach is that's a problem. Why? Because when that tzitzis was hung on beged A, to take off that corner with the tzitzis on and put onto beged B is a problem, because the tzitzis have to be hung on the beged. They have to be tied and hung on the beged that they're going to stay on. To tie it on beged A, see, if you just unravel the tzitzis and retie it, that's a different story. But to cut off the corner and re-sew the corner with the tzitzis on it, so you're taking tzitzis from beged A and placing the entire corner with the tzitzis on beged B, that's going to be a problem. Says the Mechaber in Gimel, Talis mitzuyetzes kehilchasa shechalku l'shtayim. B'chol chelik yesh b'shir l'sativ v'nishal cholachas mem tzitzis achas ishtayim and mishum tasav lemin ase. Let's say you have a beged, a big talis, and it gets cut in half. So now, instead of the tzitzis on all four corners, there's only tzitzis on two corners. But the half that gets ripped is still large enough to be a talis. You could put tzitzis on the other two corners, and it's chayiv. Don't think that because you're starting off with two tzitzis already, it's a problem of tasav and ase. It's not for tasav and ase. It's not a problem. And you put tzitzis on the other two corners, and you have no issue.